Yeah, and sourcing is the base word for resourceful, and I imagine that you have to be very resourceful to end up with so many companies. How did you end up with so many companies?
So they all really build off of each other. I'm a big fan of businesses that capture societal changes and getting in sort of early with that shift in what's happening in society. So at the time, 21 years ago, people were trusting putting their credit cards online for the first time and buying products on this new thing called e-commerce. And I said, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to buy stuff on this internet thing, but there's not yet a lot of companies selling things on there. So there's a window of opportunity here to carve out a niche and focus on a particular category. And my family had been on a trip where everybody had their favorite cereal and salad dressing and barbecue sauce, and everybody was flying home after staying at this log cabin for a week. And they said, we feel bad. We're going to have to throw away all this stuff. Wouldn't it be great if you could buy your favorite brands in miniature size? So I said, let's do everything miniature, travel size toiletries, single serving food items, little medicine packets, like everything miniature. And so we launched and did 2,500 different SKUs from brands like Procter & Gamble and Unilever and all the way on down to small mom and pop brands, but everything miniature. And we're doing that direct to consumer and wholesale, even to astronauts in the space station. And then brands assumed we were manufacturing all that. So they were coming to us and I was like, I'm not manufacturing, I'm just buying it and reselling it. But let me see if I can help you. And I saw another need in the industry, in that the factories that predated the internet and e-commerce were geared towards entrepreneurs who were launching in a big way. And to be an entrepreneur before the internet, you had to have serious capital to get in. It wasn't as easy to just create an online store and buy and resell product. Entrepreneurship was a different ball game back then. The Wharton School's entrepreneurship program was barely anything. It was in the back corner of the second floor of one of the buildings. Now there's a 7-story building just for entrepreneurship. So, but back then, these factories had million-piece minimums. So now with this internet, and e-commerce and brands saying, I just need like 10,000 pieces or 50,000 pieces, I said, there's an opportunity here to create a scaling facility. So we launched Minimus Products at minimusproducts.biz. I see some of the thing scrolling through on the screen here. That's our contract patching facility that really is unique in the country, in that we work with food, supplements, beauty, personal care, liquids, powders, particulates, packets, stick packs, bottles, jars, cans, bags, kosher certified, organic certified. We can do OTC for topicals. And so that, small minimum runs, but can scale people depending on whether we're running semi-automatic equipment or fully automatic equipment for the size of their production run. So that was great in solving another sort of shift in what was happening in e-commerce. And then people said, great, you're making my minis, now make my full sizes. And down the street, you're doing fulfillment with your own e-commerce store, both direct to consumer and wholesale. Can you do fulfillment for my brand too? And I was like, sure, why not? And all of a sudden, I realized the same phenomenon was happening in the fulfillment industry. These warehouses that predated the internet were used to pallets coming in and pallets going out to retailers. Because unless you were the Sears catalog, there wasn't that much pick and pack of individual direct-to-consumer orders. And so that's a big mindset shift, staffing shift, ability to talk to your client every day, have customer service out to the public on behalf of your brands. And so we were already doing that for ourselves. And so now brands were loving it because we're treating them as if it's still our own brand versus, clunking and knocking into stuff and having issues with their these old school fulfillment centers. And so that business started growing even beyond the brands we were packaging for, because we're here in Southern California. We're getting a lot of high profile celebrities that also love that kind of hand holding and direct contact and high touch elements of working with them. And then we had Mondelez, the big food company, came to us and said, there's some issues happening in the food service industry. Can you help us? We started working. We signed big brand. We created another company, signed big brands like Kellogg's and General Mills and all that. And then went to the big buying groups. That industry works with these big consolidators that buy on behalf of tens of thousands of cafeterias and restaurants and all that. And they said, great with the big brands. We actually need more help with the small brands because consumers have shifted to want to try new things. And as you probably have seen when we were younger, everybody did the same brands their entire life. Once you bought Tide as your laundry detergent or Crest as your toothpaste. You did it your whole life. Now people are trying new things all the time, and especially in snacks and things too. So they're like, we need a distributor to help us with that. And so we launched a company. We opened another warehouse in Ohio and work with the country's largest buying group and operator doing food service distribution. Have another business in Roblox merch through a friend of mine who's like a big famous OG, YouTuber, who saw a need in the Roblox space because you can now buy physical product in the Roblox platform that ties to digital product. And so we can do some print on demand, shirts and hoodies and plush toys and things like that, and keychains and things for these game developers. And we're partnered with the largest game developer studio on the platform. And the TikTok agency that you referenced came about when TikTok brought over a bunch of executives from China about a year ago here to Southern California. They brought over a bunch of Chinese agencies to support the growth of TikTok Shop in the United States. And one of the agencies said, we need a partner in the US to help navigate US culture, US business culture, get trust of brands and talent. And so we partnered up, and I have some live selling studios now in my building here. And we are quadruple certified on TikTok to work with brands, work with talent, work with affiliate marketing, and work on the entertainment side where people do the gifting and battles and things like that. So that's the TikTok side of it. And now I'm working on a business that basically takes all of these service companies and partners with high profile celebrities and creators, sort of A-list folks who want to be entrepreneurs, and I can bring product innovation to them. Since I work with food scientists and chemists and material scientists and inventors, I can bring them something innovative in the category they're passionate about and be their, collectively we can be their operational business partner to co-own that brand with them, leveraging all these infrastructure companies because nobody else really has that under one roof. So it's a great way to kind of leverage that and give them what they need for their legacy income, not just branding deals that are, maximizing their fame at the moment, but something that can grow and live beyond who they are and get an audience even beyond who they are. So I'll be quiet now and you can ask more questions.
Oh, no, you could keep going because it seems like you took vertical integration to the next level, pun intended, right? And you have a knack for making things that typically are reported as difficult by people seem simple. Like, I just had an idea. Wouldn't it be cool if there's a miniature version of these things? And now all of the biggest brands in the world are working with you. Even I don't know if they really publicize because at one point it was like TikTok bad, and then all of a sudden you never heard nothing about it again. I assumed a deal was made.